of the Ugandan National Association for the Blind. Mr. Idi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
We are so glad to have you. Then, on our extreme left is Salongo Biekwaso Charles, the projects manager of the Braille's Text Project. Braille Textbook Project.
Yes.
Yes, of the Ugandan National Association for the Blind. Okay. You're most welcome, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
Good
morning, viewers.
We are so glad to have you, lady and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Salongo.
Yes.
How would you rate the state of the visually impaired in Uganda today? How would you describe their state? How are they?
The state of visually impaired persons in Uganda, I think I might say it's 50-50. They are both, it's both good and bad. Bad because many visually impaired children are still hidden behind doors of individuals, not knowing where to take them to various schools, and yet the schools are available here in Uganda where they can go to and learn up to university. As we talk now, we have so many graduates who are blind, and they started within those schools. Yes, that's why I'm saying it's good and bad. Good because we have got people who have come out to be role models as blind people here in Uganda.
To inspire others.
To inspire others. We have some good examples. We have Beatrice Guzu here. We have my boss here, Amia Julius, and of course myself, and others in different organizations who have other people to talk about, like Esther Chozira, who is now a Chief Executive Officer of the National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, which is a big organization of persons with disabilities in Uganda, and so many others in different positions. So, despite of those achievements, you find that people are still not aware of the potentials of the visually impaired persons in Uganda.
Okay.
So we have a lot to do in terms of advocacy, so that our people are really included within
At that very point,
system.
let me bring in Madame Guzu here.
Yes.
So why do you think we still have those parents, like he said, that still hide their children behind the houses? They still don't know that they can take them to school. Where do you think the gap is?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I think the gap is still on information, limited information on the potentials of the blind, as Salongo has cited. Many parents still don't know that actually visually impaired persons can be important people in the community. And they also don't know that the visually impaired persons can go to school, because they don't know about the education.
Who has not done their job right?
The job, maybe all of us, including the government and the non-government organizations, and even the community leaders, because we have leaders within the community who could do that awareness creation.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Executive Director.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel when you hear that there are parents who don't yet know that they have to take their children with this impairment to school, when we have these schools here? Have the people running these schools actually taken an effort to reach everyone, to allow them or to give them an opportunity to embrace these schools?
I think those people have tried, but also we still have problems with the resources. You may find that they may not be able to come to radios like us here, televisions, and then mobilize the public to identify such children to be taken to school.
Okay.
Yes. And the other thing is that also the parents are not aware of the existing opportunities like schools for the visually impaired.
That is where I have a problem, because we have UNAB, we have the Council for People with Disability, we have, like Salongo talked about, youth figures that have come out to inspire these others. How again do we happen to have parents that don't know, that still don't know? How?
Yeah, Michael, maybe if I can interject.
Okay.
The issue is you know, most of the visually impaired children or persons are also from poor backgrounds. Sometimes the parents may actually know this information, but because he mentioned the issue of resources, since they are poor,
they're financially handicapped.
Yes, they are financially handicapped, and the reason is most of these blind people cannot study in schools within their communities. They have to go outside their community, meaning they are going to be in a boarding school, which the parent cannot afford to pay for. Then also their reading materials are not the ordinary ones, like for you and the others. Now this braille paper here, a rim is now I think 50,000, and yet the ordinary rim is 20,000. So an ordinary parent, and then the pen, an ordinary pen now I think is 1,000. But for the child with the visual impairment, the pen he uses costs at like 2 million, which an ordinary parent cannot afford.
One pen is 3 million.
Yes.
No, it's a machine that helps in writing very fast. But the ordinary, what we would regard as the ordinary pen costs 5,000. Imagine, the ordinary one is 1,000, but for the blind, it is 5,000.
Yes.
You can see the difference.
But the machine that is used in the class
Like
to write very fast, it's
typewriter
called a
or
Parkins
something.
braille.
Okay. Good enough. We have you, UNAB, and I have the three of you. So we are going to talk these things.
Yes.
Right.
Mr. Executive Director,
Yes.
tell us about UNAB. What is UNAB? Because a Ugandan with a child or a relative that needs these services and assistance now has an opportunity that you hear on TV. Tell us about UNAB, what it does, and who is UNAB anyway?
Thank you very much, Michael.
Yes.
UNAP was an organization, is an organization that was started by the blind way back in 1970, basically to advocate for the rights of visually impaired persons in Uganda.
Okay.
Now, when it was started, it went on building several networks, where currently UNAB belongs to, is a member of National Union of Disabled Persons of Uganda, is also a member of National Union of Women with Disabilities. UNAB is also a member of African Union of the Blind, whose offices are based in Nairobi. UNAB is a member of World Blind Union.
Okay.
But to add a little, it was formed with the following objectives. The first one is to ensure the provision of quality services to all blind persons of Uganda. Number two, to advocate for equalization of opportunities of the blind persons of Uganda. Three, to provide capacity for empowerment of all blind persons of Uganda. Four, to serve as a leading expert knowledge provider on issues pertaining to blindness. And the last one is to network and collaborate with indigenous and international partners on development issues related to blind people. Those are the 5 objectives.
How much have we achieved in as far as those 5 is concerned?
As I said earlier, we have tried to touch on part of these objectives, but the issue of resources has made, I can't say that we have achieved everything. Okay. That's why the advocacy still continues as we are here on TV.
But at least where do you boast of some achievement?
Yes.
Some scores?
Of
in
course,
what areas?
Okay. Like on the issue of networking and collaboration, we are doing it very well because we are here, because we have collaborated with Disability Rights Fund. We are collaborating with other organizations like Site Savers that form part of our steering committee under this domestication of the Maracas Treaty.
Maybe to Michael, can I interject?
Yes.
Okay. Some of the achievements of UNAP, it has promoted education of blind children. Actually, by even setting up a model service, for instance, it established a unit for the blind in Salama, Mukono, And then eventually government took it over. Now it's a government school, but it was UNAB which initiated that. Even they established another one in Kasambia, in Mubende, and then government also took up. It has been doing that kind of model service. It also distributes white canes. This is the white cane, which supports blind people to move fairly independently. It distributes that to blind people in Uganda. It also supplies the braille paper I've been talking about, which is used for producing books, learning books in braille. It has tried to advocate for inclusion of blind persons in various services. For instance, those days when they were recruiting teachers, the grade 3 teachers, most blind people would not be taken on because they had failed the mathematics in O level, but it was not their making. It was because there were no special teachers trained to teach blind people in mathematics. So UNAB advocated to UNEB and said, you see, the issue of blind people failing mathematics is not their making, so you can't deny them to join teacher training colleges. So UNAB had to, UNEB made an affirmative action. And the consideration was agreed. Yes, the consideration was agreed. So now blind people are taken on to train in grade 3, even despite failing mathematics, and they have done that in many areas.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, to add on the issue of quality services, which is objective number 1, UNAB established a high-tech training center which trains visually impaired persons in a computer, and I must say I'm a product of that center. I trained way back in 2004, and that helped me a lot when I went to Makerere. I could easily do my research, and even when I started working, I use it for writing reports, computer skill, which has been very helpful to me.
Okay.
One achievement is actually the domestication or the ratification of the Marrakech Treaty, which we are going to talk about later, was spearheaded by UNAB and National Council for Disability. Otherwise, if UNAB had not taken it up, Uganda would have not ratified the Marrakech Treaty.
Let us now go to the Marrakech Treaty. Yes. I'll start with Salongo.
Yes.
Tell us about this treaty.
Thank you so much,
and
Michael.
Some details to do with it.
Thank you so much, Michael. The Marrakech Treaty, as we mentioned earlier on, is a treaty that enables persons who are blind or visually impaired and other print disabilities to access information in accessible formats. Accessible formats can be Braille. Braille is the reading and writing of the blind people, which we do using our fingers, feeling. Then there could be other formats like the audio. Audio means it's something recorded and you just record and listen to it. There could be other methods also. A large print. Some of our colleagues have a bit of residual sight which can enable them read some print. But that print needs to be adjusted to be put in large print. So that's the treaty. And other people who have got difficulties in reading print, generally, it's not only the blind people, that could be the albinos. Albinos also have challenges with their sight in reading print. So those are included. There could be others who are illiterate. He is very literate, but he's able to listen to what is recorded and is able to continue with it. So it is really a treaty that enables all those categories of people to get access to the information that is available. And this treaty, actually, globally, it is the second treaty which addresses specifically issues of persons with disabilities, being the first one being the Convention on the Rights and Persons of Persons with Disabilities, which was came a bit earlier, and that one is a general one. So they are moving now together, and good enough, we want to appreciate the government because in 2018, April, it was ratified. But as it was ratified, it cannot be effectively implemented because it has to be incorporated to be in tandem with other laws here in Uganda. Good enough, we have some laws like the National Council for Disability Act, which Madam Beatrice will talk much about, and then of course the Constitution and the Copyright and Neighboring Act rights, 2006. That one has also some little mention about access to information by visually impaired person, but it's very little. So we would like to see that the contents of the Maracas Treaty incorporated within the Copyright and Neighboring Act 2006, so that it is now fully implementable, and it can be used by all service providers, government, and others to help people with visual impairment. And
so you're advocating for it,
yes,
being legally entrenched into the laws of Uganda and
right,
being implemented.
Right.
We will come to that.
Yes.
Madam Aguzu.
Yes.
Can you highlight some of the provisions
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
within the Marrakech Treaty
Yeah.
that are of help to an ordinary Ugandan visually impaired child?
Yes, thank you, Michael. There's some of the provisions he has mentioned that it provides for translating the reading materials, all reading materials, whether it be newspapers, books, learning books, and so on, into accessible formats, the large print, the braille, audio, and so on. Then the other provision is that countries can exchange books, because there are countries that are more advanced than Uganda, for instance, especially the developed countries. They have books in various formats, e-books and so on, so they can be allowed to exchange those books with those countries that don't have, without necessarily being challenged by copyright issues, because most of these books are produced by authors and they require copyright. But the Marrakech Treaty says those books can be exchanged. And then it also provides for authorities to be able to transcribe these books in accessible formats without seeking permission from the authors. For instance, if it is an educational institution, it can translate the books which children use, like published by maybe our famous MK publishers and so on. The educational institutions can be able to translate those things into the books into accessible formats without asking permission from MK publishers. Those are some of the provisions in the treaty, yes.
How do you think they can be applied in our Ugandan setting?
Yeah,
I want you to look at a wide range of issues. You yourself talked about children that have challenges of poverty,
yes,
that stand in their way of going to school and accessing other services of life. How do you see this treaty and its provision being implemented in Uganda in that state that we have?
Yes. Yeah, now, one thing is that the Uganda should incorporate these provisions I talked about in our domestic act. For instance, the Uganda Copyright and Neighboring Act, which actually addresses issues of copyright. So once it is incorporated, then meaning that our children in schools can be able to access these books from the international people, even the educational institutions can transcribe them for them, meaning that the parents will not necessarily have to buy the books, but the educational institution can transcribe them for the children. Also, the publishers will be able to make maybe some of these books in accessible formats so that they can be bought. We know they are doing it for commercial basis, but if they made it accessible for everyone, then the visually impaired people and their print disabled would be able to either buy individually or sponsors can buy for them. But the issue of the children also not going to school can be addressed through still sponsorships, through government putting in resources, establishing resource centers in areas, in schools, so that children, parents don't have to suffer with the expense of buying those expensive.
How do you relate that with the treaty?
Yes, the treaty, you know.
Lobbying sponsors and
Yes.
government
Yes.
to ensure that we have all the visually impaired children into school.
Yes.
But does that need the treaty? Salong has something to say.
Yes, I think it needs the treaty because now government will be obliged to produce the textbooks,
Yes.
the ordinary textbooks alongside the Braille or other formats, see, and put them in schools, various schools. And now the issue, you know, our parents get challenges like the schools for the blind, they are not nearby. You have to for example, take a child from Gomba up to Salama School for the blind. That calls for, again, someone staying there, staying in a dormitory, eating, doing what, all those costs which our parents don't have. So now if the books are provided within their localities, I think the children with vision impairment will be accessing those books. And in addition, I think the treaty will also help us to compel government to train, and I know the process has started, to train teachers who handle visual impairment, because it's not the only people. They can put it within the main curriculum so that everybody now knows if he finds a child with visual impairment, he will know what to do to provide information, and the information will be readily available within the offices or the bookstores of the schools. And in that way, it will reduce that kind of challenge of people saying he has gone to school, he's just learning like a parrot, he's not writing, you know, but the materials, the books will be available within the easiest locations.
Okay.
Yes.
I was still with Madame Aguzu here,
Yes, yes.
before Salongo came in, and he highlighted more. Did you want to add something before I bring in mine?
Yes, actually he has mentioned, apart from the books in schools, we also have libraries in communities. We are saying even these books should be given, made accessible in the community libraries, so that if I'm a person with visual impairment and I'm in that community, I can also go and read just like any other person would do. It will make life cheaper for parents not to take children far away from their home, but they can be able to learn from within, in the schools within their locality, because the books are already there, the teachers are there.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll start with you on this, but at least each one of us will have an idea. What do you think is standing in the way of full implementation and embracement of this treaty in Uganda to see that our visually impaired people are helped? What do you think is that one thing that is standing in its way?
I think what is standing in the way is the delay in the amendment of, for instance, the Uganda Neighboring and Copyright Act, which already at least has recognized one format, which is Braille. They just need to add on other formats, which include the large print, the audio. So there's a delay in the enactment of that act. And the responsible agency taking charge of that is Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And they told us the delay is because they are trying to amend all laws related with the copyright issues.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, if I can add, there are 4 more other treaties which we are ratified by Uganda government.
Before you come in, Salong,
Yes.
Mr. Idi,
Yes, please.
what do you think is standing in the way of full embracement of this Marrakesh Treaty?
I think what Beatrice has talked about is that the procedure that we have to follow. You know, you don't with the government issues, you don't just wake up and you say now it is working. So those are the procedures that we have to follow, that other laws have followed. So we also have to follow those ones so that we get the Marrakesh Treaty domesticated in Uganda.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Salong.
Yes, I was saying there are 4 other treaties that were ratified by Uganda government and other agencies also, and the government itself is willing to domesticate both the other treaties, like the Bern Convention for the protection of the literacy, Then the second one is the WIPO copyright treaty. WIPO is the World Intellectual Property Organization. Then number 3 is the WIPO performance and the pornography programs treaty. There's the first one, which is the Beijing Treaty. So these treaties were also ratified alongside the Maracas Treaty, which is the 5th. So they cannot ratify one treaty. Like for us, UNAB, we have a die-hard to see that the treaty is ratified, which is concerning us most. But even the other 4 treaties are also very important in our life. So we don't want to leave them out. So we are now making efforts to see that we gang up or we join Uganda Legislative Services Bureau and the Uganda the Attorney General's Chamber and the Law Reform Commission, so that those treaties are really ratified together with the Marrakech Treaty. Right now, we have the work plan, which is produced by government to ratify these treaties. But the work plan doesn't have a budget. And UNAB has no way it can get the money to maybe to speed up or to foster the implementation of the ratification. So we are very slow, we want it to be speedy, but our hands are tied up.
Financially.
Financially. So we are advocating. And for us, we are doing this work. We have been somehow, in a small way, supported by Disability Rights Fund, which also gives us very little money, like $10,000, $15,000, $1,000 to do this work. But still the money is very little compared to what is supposed to be done.
What you need to do.
Yes, what we need to do. And we cannot finance all the sectors. Like, for example, for last year alone, we had some engagements toward this noble cause. We had some engagements with the Uganda Publishers Association. We talked to them. They are willing and they are welcoming the demonstration. We talked to the Committee of Parliament for Persons with Disabilities. They are also willing to support us, but their hands are also tied up. They cannot pull out all the resources that needed to domesticate all the 5 treaties now. We recently had some engagement with the Department of Special Needs Education, with the Ministry of Education and Sports. They are also willing to support us, but they cannot move, not until when they get a budget, specifically to do the work. Uganda National Legislative Service Bureau has had several interactions with us, and they are willing to do the work, and they are willing to move with us and to incorporate us within their meetings. But also their budget is very little, so that's where we stand. But we appreciate that government ratified, and it is only that area. We pray that the process will clearly reach the climax, and I know even the Minister of Foreign Affairs is responsible for this. So it is a team, a group of agencies that are supposed to work on the modification, and let alone to go to Parliament. And we are sure if it goes to Parliament and we succeed taking it there, I know with the support of our MPs for persons with disabilities, we shall be able to succeed.
Thank you so much, Salongo. Yes, Madam Aguzi.
Yes.
So Salongo says there are so many people that are willing to support you, only that the challenge is the budget. How much have you done to ensure that at least you get support in terms of the budget?
We have advocated. Of course, you know, government has priorities.
Okay.
So sometimes the priorities may not be the laws. So at the moment, but we keep advocating on annual basis. In each budgetary planning period, we bring the issues to the table, to Parliament, to various responsible authorities that are really concerned with the budget. But I think because of the priorities of government, they are always, they tell us to wait and wait. So, but we have done a lot in terms of advocating on annual basis.
But how much will you wait if it's lagging your operations?
Now, how much will we wait? That one is...
but we are here on TV now.
Yes.
I hope people who are responsible, who are concerned, they are hearing us,
Taking
are
the
seeing
message.
us.
Yes.
So we want them to take action.
And
if
even,
there's someone
even
who
the
can support-
media, the media can also voice our concerns.
This is what we're doing.
They should do, yes.
I wanted to know,
Yes.
do we have countries where this Marrakesh Treaty is already operational fully and they have already touched the fruits? Madam Aguzu.
Okay, thank you. I think mostly not in African countries. Most of the African countries have ratified. They are all still in the process of domestication.
Okay.
The developed countries, I've also not heard of any that has domesticated, but most of them have ratified. So it is still, it is a treaty that was ratified very fast by many countries, but the domestication seems to be slow. But other countries have gone ahead, much as they have not domesticated, but they are already implementing the provisions.
Okay.
Yes.
So the challenge is with domesticating it.
Yes.
Yes.
To make it part of the rules.
The local laws
Okay.
of each country. Yes.
Mr. Executive Director,
Yes, sir.
the issue of funds, what would you want to tell government and whoever has to support UNAM?
Of course, the issue of funds, sometimes it is a general problem, but of course we cannot get tired of calling upon our stakeholders to direct some budgets towards this cause, because it's a very important cause that will benefit our people, the visually impaired, to access information so that they are not left out of certain opportunities because of information gaps. Yes.
But you talked about UNAM having a number of networks and things like that. The voice would be loud.
Yes, the voice.
Considering the networks that you're talking about, you talked
Yes,
about.
the voice is loud. We actually have, we conduct steering committee meetings where we discuss our challenges and achievements. But of course, if it is loud, it does not mean that if you have 100 people and you have a loud voice, not all the 100 may not hear. Even if you have 90, you may need to be a little louder so that you get the other remaining 10. So that's why we need to continue the advocacy.
What plans are there to ensure that you continue with the advocacy? What plans do we have on the table?
Okay,
Actually,
thank you very much.
Chairman,
Yes,
I
that's
mean,
it.
presenter, let me add on to say that UNAB has taken a step even to make strategies toward the implementation or the domestication of the
treaty.
treaty and others actually, because now we are just incidentally, we are seeing that even the others are so important for the lives of blind people in Uganda. The other four I mentioned.
Yes.
So we have now put up a steering committee, he has mentioned it. A steering committee is comprised of Madam Beatrice Guru here. Actually, we are very proud of Madam Guru because she even participated in the initial discussions for the establishment of the treaty, which was done in 2013.
Okay.
So she was part of it. And then we are also having somebody from the Special Needs Department of Ministry of Education. We are having somebody, a representative from the Equal Opportunities Commission. We are having somebody from NUDIPO, and the Chief Executive Director herself participates in it. We have someone from National Curriculum Development Center, and of course ourselves as UNAP, as the people who are really inside this, I mean, within the engineering kind of center. So we are moving, and so far we have had several meetings, and we have had several advices towards the implementation, and I think we are moving, and we shall leave no stone unturned
Wow.
To see
Maybe
that
to add on,
yes.
apart from pursuing the amendment of the law, at least there's some awareness already going on the Marrakech Treaty and its provisions. The one such awareness was conducted by Ministry of Education to its teachers across the country with the support of UNESCO. And there are also activities that are already being, the Ministry of Education is already going ahead to develop e-books. They contracted Chambogo University to start developing e-books for children in schools with support from UNICEF. So there are already activities going on, much as the domestication is not yet done.
Okay.
Yes.
We thank you so much. To you watching, we are with members of the Ugandan National Association for the Blind, and we're discussing a number of issues, but mainly the Marrakech Treaty, a treaty that was signed internationally to aid the visually impaired to access information, especially written information. That's what we are discussing, the domestication of that treaty, to see that it entirely helps everyone and brings everybody on board in terms of helping the visually impaired. Salong.
Yes, please.
We have seen these international treaties brought on board and embraced, and still the situation doesn't change. How will you explain to the rest of the community if, yes, the domestication is taken and again things stay the same?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I think it's UNAB's role. UNAB is not to end today. It has to continue. We are here and others will come on board. They will continue advancing the issue of the advocacy for its implementation and the usage of the materials for in accessible formats. The blind people today and who are to come tomorrow, they will need this information. Good enough, Uganda National Association of the Blind is a member of the Accessible Book Consortium, whose headquarters are in Geneva, and which is under the WIPO, that's the World Intellectual Property Organization. So I think we have all strategies for advocating for its implementation and continuity.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe to add on is that apart from UNAB, there are other disability organizations in place who will still also support UNAB to push this advocacy. And it's also not true that many laws have been in place and not much has. I think a lot has happened, although it is progressing, maybe not as we expect.
Not instant.
Yes, yes.
But maybe, Michael, UNAB also continues to do its advocacy for domestication of the Marrakech Treaty and many other challenges faced by the visually impaired.
Yes.
Through organizing functions like the White Canes Day, where we highlight some of those challenges and inform the public about the importance of addressing such challenges. Like this year, the White Canes Day will be held in Bulisa district. Okay. In 2019, it was in Butaleja. 2020, we were at Gulf Coast, Scientific one. 2021, we were in Gulu. So this year, we are in Bulisa. And I would like to use this opportunity to call upon members of the public, well-wishers,
come and be part.
Organizations that can support us in this occasion. It's a very big occasion for the visually impaired in Uganda. To come and be part of it, they'll benefit because there are also exhibitions there. So if there are companies that want to partner with us, we are available. They can contact Uganda National Association of the Blind. We shall maybe leave you with our contacts so that they can get to us.
Even UBC TV.
Yes,
you join us. We take our message
to the people.
They talk to the people. Why not? We also Ugandans, much as we are blind, but we are Ugandans and we need your services.
Of course, UBC TV has no alternative. We embrace everyone. All you actually, we just have a duty to be there.
Yes.
Yes. So, how ready are you? Actually, let me take this to Salong and I'll come back to Madam Augusto. supposing the domestication is taken on and things like that.
Yes.
How ready are you? I'll give an example of somebody who asked for school fees.
Yes.
The money is given and this person is not yet ready to even iron their shirt to go to school. How ready are you? How prepared are you as a community to yield or to harvest the benefits of the domestication of this treaty? If government wakes up and everything is done as you advocate.
Yes, sure.
How prepared are you?
We are prepared because our core activity is advocacy. So we shall not live doing advocacy, not only on the issue of domestication of the Marrakech Treaty, but the other issues like advocating for the education of the visually impaired persons in Uganda. We want also to reach the parents. We want to reach them by maybe going village to village, district. Good enough, we have got branches, in 96 branches all over the country. So those branches will empower our branches also to do some advocacy so that the blind people are identified and are taken to school. Because it will be useless to have books in schools when they are just rotting there and they are just beaten by termites. So it will be, we shall have done a non-service. So we want to mobilize as many visually impaired children to go to schools, nearby schools, to identify those who are really trying to hide them. I think we shall use the appropriate laws even to take them to court. Because nowadays, our National Council for Disability Act 2020 is biting. If you really violate the rights of any disabled child, I think if some people can come out and engage you properly, they can even sue you in court. So we shall all use all measures so that the blind children access information, blind children and adults read the information. We have got our adult literacy programs.
According to the producer, we have 5 minutes. So, Salongo, I want you to continue with your last remarks as we wind up.
Yeah, we shall also put in efforts, revive strongly our functional adult literacy in Braille. We teach the adults, because even adults need this information. There are people who are really having the information famine, because they cannot read. We need to teach them so that they are able to access that information, to enjoy and get information. Because some people are just ignorant because they don't read books. But if they read books, they would be more knowledgeable.
Yes. Thank you so much, Salongo Biekwaso Charles. Yes. Mr. Executive Director, what are your last remarks, closing remarks as we wind up?
My last remarks is that we have started a journey, and we are still in the middle of this journey. So my remark is that all stakeholders that can join us to make this journey a success are welcome. And as I said, for the White Canes Day, it will be a big one. Let the public watch out for it. I think UBC, you'll be able to give them the information.
Definitely.
So that they get sensitized.
What is the date once again?
15th October.
Where we
shall be down in Bulisa.
In Bulisa.
Yes.
15th October, Bulisa, World White Canes Day.
International White Canes Day.
International White Canes Day.
Yes.
Definitely UBC will be there.
Yes.
Then Madam Agozu.
Yes, I want to thank UBC for giving us this opportunity.
You're welcome.
And to thank government for starting the process of ratifying. So I'm calling upon the government and its lead agencies to quicken the process of the domestication so that the book famine for blind people in Uganda can come to an end.
Okay.
Yes.
What would be your message to a parent with a blind child in their house?
The parent with blind children should go to take their children to school. They have a very big potential. They can look at us here. We are now leading big institutions in the country. So we want our future blind people to replace us in this position. So take your children to school.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Mr. Executive Director, there is a parent watching you with a blind child and they don't know what to do. She says they should take them to school. Any other different idea?
Yes, of course, that is a very big issue. In fact, that reminds me when I was called somewhere some children were not, they had funding, but when the funders would tell the parents to go to school to visit them, the parents would refuse. But when I went there, I assessed, they had only one problem. They thought a blind person, a disabled person could never be successful. So when I went there, they eventually changed their attitude. So we can use the role model approach. It will change a lot.
Thank you so much. And you, Salongo, lastly,
lastly, I want to thank our consortium group. You know, this project for advocating for the demonstration of the Maracas Treaty is done by 3 agencies. That is the East African Center for Disability Law and Policy, under the leadership of Oscar Walkuli, and then MADAB. MADAB is Masindi District Association of the Blind. It's our branch, but it has come out to be strong and with a good capacity to implement projects together. And of course, ourselves as Uganda National Association of the Blind, which is the lead organization. We thank our board of directors, and of course, because for us we are on the secretariat, but all these issues are sanctioned, waived off, are supported by the board of directors. If the board of directors is not supportive, then we cannot move any further. So I want to echo thanks to them.
Thank you so much, Salom. That is all we had for you with the team here from the Ugandan National Association for the Blind. I'll just mention their names once again. The gentleman with the hat on the extreme left is Mr. Biekwaso Charles Salongo. He's the project manager of the Braille's textbooks project in UNAB. The gentleman in the middle is Mr. Hamia Julius, the executive director of the Ugandan National Association for the Blind, and the lady on my left here is Miss Beatrice Guzu, the executive secretary of the National Council for People with Disabilities. Gentlemen and lady, we thank you so much for coming and for all the information we have shared. Wish you all the best in your endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
To you watching, that is all we had for you. Thank you so much for being there to watch. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend. Bye-bye.
UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay?
Okay.
If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay. If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay? Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by Simply deposit 20K or more on your mobile money for a chance to win 3 Toyota Succeeds and money to 2,000 lucky winners every week. We're giving away 24 cars and over 2 billion shillings of mobile money.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, high-flying saves, unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebration.
Would you believe it? What a moment here!
All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV. Love it.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Up next on UBC, brought to you by...
Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Zikaria kukuma Komfunye Ofunye binene Komfunye Olingo manene Komfunye Ofunye binene Komfunye Olingo manene Tik tak tik tak kalimika sawa Eno ye sawa Adamu nekawa Wakala uli awa My God I need emergency I mean I need emergency I need emergency Nakude mulabu ne majesty Mini wo, nze wo Hakuna shida buno sibu sibu wo Mini wo, nze wo Fefe busi wo ya kuwea Kompunye, ofunya kamera kaoma Nze kompunye, ofunya sikari ya kukuma Nze kompunye, ofunye binene Kompunye, olingo manene Kompunye, ofunye binene Kompunye Olingo manene Mini wo, ze wo Hakuna shida buno sibu sibu wo Mini wo, ze wo Hakuna shida Orokulu njivu wakita chili mululu Yagala kwa gale kukule wapululu I'ma give you all my life Yagala wula mbukuwe, mbukuwe my love I'ma give you everything Yagala vyange mikuwe, mikuwe my love Komfunye gochemaze Weba nyanjanze nkulabyo jihuze Akajanja balio bamaze Ngamba ba exit Nobono balase Ze komfunye Ofunya kamera kaoma Ze komfunye Ofunya sikari ya kukuma Ze komfunye Ofunye binene Komfunye Olingo manene Komfunye Ofunye binene Komfunye Olingo manene Chili mululu Yagala kwa gale kukule wapululu Mini wo, ze wo Hakuna shida buno sibu sibu wo Mini wo
Oh na 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 hey Viva Nintendo Oh yeah Let me give you what you want.